Hey there, it's Dusty Thunder with yet another AITA story for you. This one is titled, Am I the Astronaut for Not Wanting My Husband to Go to His Ex's Funeral? There are things you get, okay. I'll admit I'm biased right off the bat. I couldn't stand her. I call her his ex to myself and others. He called her his friend. We're all in our early 40s. She died recently, aneurysm. I've been with him for 10 years now, but he'd known her for 20 plus. The way he tells it, they were friends in college, decided to date, got married, and then realized they weren't a great couple and just decided to be friends. All that happened years before I met him. He was clear early on that she was important. A couple months into dating, it came up that his friend was actually his ex-wife. He explained the above to me, saying that she was one of his closest friends and that it was purely platonic. I expressed some discomfort at him being so close to an ex, and he told me, that's fine. If you have a serious issue with it, let me know and save us some time. I'll choose her. I like you and all, but I've known her for over 12 years, and she is one of the most important people in my life. You'll have to be okay with that if you want us to be a thing. Hey, well, by the way, pausing right here, because for him to be able to communicate this up front and be like, hey, this is an important person in my life, and if you have a problem with that, I'd rather know right now. Like pre-communication here, I'm giving him this. And yes, we have an opportunity to use the green flag for hubby here, who up front, I lowered it so you can actually see my face when this happens. Up front, it was a few months into dating whenever she found that out, and I understand his apprehension for not revealing that until they're a few months in and a little bit more serious, but he pre-communicated it and made sure to create a boundary with it too. So green flags for him. Way to go. When we were engaged, I asked again. He gave me this perplexed look and asked, why would us getting married affect my friendships? I sucked it up and went along. I resented every moment of knowing her, especially when we had to be social. She understood some part of him that I couldn't. Her husband was friends with mine as well, so it's not like I could use him as an angle. Wait a second. Use him as an angle? OP. What do you mean use him as an angle? Like try to be friends with him to show your husband how wrong it was? I think you're thinking about this in a very insecure way already. He'd have lunch with the ex, they'd go to their geeky movies and whatever. The few times I brought it up, he said, we've had this conversation before, you had your chance to back out. She died after they had lunch the other day on the way to her car. He spent a bunch of time crying, but honestly, I was relieved. Okay, red flags for you, lady. He was working with her husband on funeral planning. I told him, you don't think you're going, do you? Okay. I need to create like a continuous red flags button here, apparently. My argument summed up, she's dead and she's not a factor anymore. He doesn't get to use his she's my friend excuse since she doesn't exist anymore. He had his cry for a couple of days. He gets to be done with mourning her already. There's no need for him to go to her funeral since I wouldn't want her at his. He was the angriest I've ever seen him when I told him that, replying that he'll be going no matter how I feel and that he's willing to burn this to the ground while holding up his wedding band. Besides you, she was the closest friend in my life. Him, her husband, and my sisters are calling me an insensitive asshole over this, all saying that there was no romantic aspect to the relationship and that I'm heartless. Her husband went so far as calling me a ghoul for how I reacted. Oh, you reached asshole level ghoul. That's new. I never felt their relationship was appropriate, and I hid that for many years because I wanted to be with my husband. Now that she's gone, I don't feel that I should have to hide it anymore and can speak freely. Am I the astronaut for just wanting him to be done with her and for him to not attend the funeral? Yes, you are a piece of human dog shit. Your insecurity has taken over every decision-making power that you have, and you are reacting out of fear. And you saying I've hidden it for this long, I shouldn't have to anymore, is bullshit. You know what's funny about this is that you waited until this moment to create a big stink, but couldn't wait another week to do this after the funeral. You waited this long. Why would you let it go now instead of waiting till after the funeral? If you waited till after the funeral, he'd be mourning her privately. There wouldn't be any kind of thing that he needed to go to that involved her. You took a stand right here to stir the pot, to create drama, to force him to make a choice. Because you thought somewhere in your little birdseed brain that you thought that finally he'll choose me. He was clear about this from, I'm not going to say day one, from month 2. He's been clear about this from really early on. She was an important person in his life. They mutually decided to not be married anymore because they weren't compatible as a romantic couple. They were just best friends, and they've been best friends since. And this is not new information. Being jealous because there's some part of him that she understands that you never will, then you have to apply that same jealousy to every male bestie he has as well. It doesn't work like that. You are just insecure. Your insecurity is driving the boat here. Your problems internally are what's causing this to happen. Your insecurity is going to cause this marriage to crumble, and you are going to be alone. You are a self-fulfilling prophecy. Wow. You are a ghoul. Shit. How can you not see this? How can you not feel it? How can you not detect that this might be a you problem? And how could you go through all of this, think these things, say these things out loud, get the responses that you get, and never once think, man, you know what? Maybe I should be in therapy. Maybe I need to talk to somebody about this because it feels wrong in here. It feels wrong. You get the Ask on One special. Of course. Of course. I've never been so sure about anything in my life. You also get the Bizzo. You also get the Delulu. You also get the DFHB thumbs down. If I had more buttons, I would use them on you because you're honestly just the worst. You're the worst. You're the worst. You don't deserve to be in this marriage anymore. You don't deserve to have affection from this man anymore. You're destroying your own life now by letting your insecurity take over. The root issue is not your husband. Something happened way back. Something happened way back that makes you this insecure, that makes you act the way that you act. I'm sure you've been burned in the past. I'm sure that you've been cheated on or you've been left or whatever it was. You are now punishing everyone else in your life because of that. And you've been torturing yourself this whole time. Choose your pain. Going and talking to somebody about it is going to be an intense amount of pain for a short amount of time. But right now you are living daily pain with this insecurity and are going to be for the rest of your life until you get it fixed. Or at least get a grip on it so that it doesn't lash out and destroy your life for you. Fuck, Aaron!